Welcome to the Care Right podcast, your go-to resource for all things elder care. Guiding us through this journey is Annalee Kruger, the founder of Care Right Incorporated, and she has been steadfastly supporting families across the United States. Each episode brings you expert insights, innovative strategies, and practical advice, ensuring that you're well equipped to provide the best possible care for your loved ones. Expect to gain valuable knowledge, learn from real-life stories, and get inspired to take action in your own caregiving journey. So buckle up as we dive into an in-depth discussion of elder care planning and together embrace the journey of caring for aging loved ones on the Care Right podcast.
This again to see if this works. So, oh my God, where did it go? Oh my God. Okay, so just attempt number 3. So bear with me. Maybe instead of going through my Zoom account, there's this handy little button right there on Facebook that I never noticed until just literally 2 minutes ago, when it occurred to me that the other Facebook Live that I was trying to do through Zoom was still recording. So yay. All right, so I am going to see if this is actually working. It seems like it is, and there's no echoing. So I'm pretty confident that this is actually working properly, but I have not really a clue about that. So this one is titled Never Quit, even if you have to humble yourself and be embarrassed. But you know, most of you are like actual friends of mine, so you know that I'm much better with people than I am technology. So, and for those of you who don't actually personally know me, now you do. So anyway, family caregivers, this is for you. Real quick here, because I actually have another meeting shortly, because this took me so long to dink around with to figure out how to do this that I just wasted like 20 minutes of time. So family caregivers, this is for you. Not everything is going to be like super organized. I'm just like kind of blurting out thoughts so that you can have some food for thought, and you can always reach out if you have questions or want to learn more. I'm not even sure when I'm going to be always going live. I should just kind of schedule a time so that if there are people who actually want to hear what I have to say live, you could do so. But anyway, so family caregivers, this is for you. 58% of adult children get thrust into the role of family caregiving without ever having any kind of family meeting. If you don't know my background, let me just share with you quickly where I come from. I have been a social worker and family mediator and continuing care retirement community executive director for over 22 years. Before I started Care Right, my family caregiver virtual consultancy in 2011, every single day for 22 plus years, working in those continuing care retirement communities that have all of the different levels of care: independent living, assisted living, memory care, skilled rehab, skilled nursing. Every single day I had adult kids coming in because mom fell, she broke her hip. She's the caregiver to dad with dementia. The kids had no idea what questions to ask, what to look for. All they knew was that the hospital discharge planner said, here's a list of facilities. Go find one by noon tomorrow because we are discharging your mom. And she has to go somewhere because she can't go home, because she needs physical therapy and occupational therapy. So the kids were literally coming in with like all of the list of facilities that the hospital discharge planner gave them, and they truly had no idea what questions to ask, what to look for. They were very scared and overwhelmed, and literally just stepping into the facility, into the skilled rehab or into the memory care, because they had to find, solutions, care solutions for now both parents. That's a very daunting experience, just stepping into a care community. It's never on anyone's bucket list to have to put mom and dad into a care facility. And many adult kids have made the promise, we'll never put you in a care community. We'll take care of you. We'll find another way to keep you aging at home. But that's just simply not feasible, safe, or realistic, or nowadays affordable. So anyway, the adult kids didn't know what questions to ask. They didn't know what to look for. The tour would take a couple of hours because we have to tour the whole campus, right? Memory care, skilled rehab. And after the tours were done, I was spending another hour and sometimes two coaching and educating the families about dementia, about how is care going to get paid, because most consumers think that Medicare is going to pay for all care all the time, no matter what. And that is simply not the case. Medicare is not long-term care insurance. So I would be asking the adult kids, do your parents have long-term care insurance? I don't know. We've never talked about that. Do your parents have a living will, a power of attorney? I don't know. We never talked about that either. And then there were like this many adult kids, like, where's the camera? Like this many adult kids in that 22-year time frame that would say, Annalee, we tried to have these conversations with mom and dad, but they gave us so much pushback that we quit trying because now it's hurting our relationship. Well, lo and behold, here they are again in yet another crisis, and they don't have any idea what their parents had in order. They don't know how much money they have. The kids know absolutely nothing. So after 22 years of literally pretty much the same conversations every day with every single family, I decided to leave corporate America to start my own consultancy in 2011 to solve for those exact same problems. Families not having any family meetings to talk about the what whens of aging. Families not understanding dementia. Why is dad acting this way? How come he can't set up his own medications or coordinate his own doctor's appointments? Or why is he getting lost when he drives? He used to be a top executive of a major company. Well, that was then. This is now. Now dad has dementia. And so this way I can take families through what that whole dementia journey is going to look like for their loved ones, so they can be properly informed and educated, and they can understand what those care options are going to look like. So that's why I left corporate America. And there's also the other little tidbit that I was going to get fired if I didn't leave on my own terms, because I was getting written up for spending too much time with families, and I was exceeding the minutes per patient per day equation that these care facilities have for their employees. So I thought, well, I've already been written up or coached twice, and we have a 3-time and you're out policy at that particular company. So I was like, I'm going to leave on my own terms and make a bigger difference. And thank God I did, because now I can work with families all across the world. When I started Care Right in 2011, I intentionally went virtual because by then kids didn't live near each other. Siblings don't live near each other. They're a flight away from where mom and dad live. Mom and dad might live in Tucson, Arizona, but their 4 kids live in 4 different states. Or with the blended families, you might have the set of parents that live in, Arizona or Texas or wherever, but those parents' kids live in all different states, and a lot of times they've actually never met each other until they're actually in a crisis when they have to convene and figure out what to do with each parent. So that's what Care Right does. We solve for families needing to have family meetings, a neutral third-party person facilitate their family meetings. I'm also a mediator. 85% of our families, I'm doing family mediation because their relationships are so strained by the time they come to Care Right, and also the fact that they're in crisis. So I don't ever see families at their best, so to speak, because they're all scared and they're overwhelmed and they're worried and they're wondering, is this going to be our family's new baseline? What if dad doesn't improve from his stroke? Or, families not understanding the dementia progression. And so that is perseverance, my friend. Oh, Anne, you are so awesome. Bless your heart. And so anyway, so that's what I help families with all across the country. Like I said, I intentionally went virtual in 2011. Back then we only had Skype. But the reason I went virtual is because the market had changed. Families didn't live near each other anymore. And if families don't invest the time, effort, money, and resources in maintaining relationships with each other, Then what happens is when dad has that stroke or mom falls and breaks her hip and she's the caregiver to dad with dementia, the kids have to get reacquainted with each other and then figure out what to do with mom and dad. So there are real challenges out there, and the adult kids often would love to spend more time and checking in on their parents, but employers aren't as family friendly, so to speak, as they used to be. And so now there's so much more pressure that if you're not performing at work, you're replaceable. If you're not meeting your sales quota, you're not going to keep your job. And so, and it's hard to always use your vacation days to travel back and forth to make sure your parents are okay. So that's why a lot of kids around holiday time get incredibly blindsided because they're like, oh my gosh, the last time I saw dad, he seemed like he was doing okay. But this year when I came to visit him, he's lost 20 pounds, or he's more confused. He didn't recognize me right away. Or I came into his house and it smells like a nursing home. So clearly he's having some incontinence issues. Or maybe he's just not eating well, or he's not taking his medications. So kids always end up blindsided about how their parent is actually doing at home. A lot of adult kids would like to think that their parents are thriving at home. And then this is when they get blindsided and realize, hey, maybe mom and dad are actually struggling at home, and maybe what they're doing isn't very safe, and it's certainly not very sustainable. So that's when adult kids, now that they have the awareness that mom and dad aren't doing very well, that's when all the emergency rescue missions, what I call rescue missions, start taking place. Is now there's awareness that mom and dad are not doing as well as at home as they had hoped. And so that's when most of my adult kids, they tell me how much money they're losing from their work, or how much money they are spending in those emergency airfares. Most of my clients, the year before they hire us for an aging plan, or what's now a crisis plan, they are spending $25,000 out of pocket the year before, because that's emergency airfare is not $69 on Frontier. It's like $1,000 at a pop. They are using up all of their PTO, their vacation days. Many of them are burning through their FMLA because they're responsive to every single time mom falls or dad's in the hospital. And so that's exhausting. That becomes very overwhelming, very expensive. Even the most attentive, supportive, loving spouse at some point will say, look, honey, I love your parents, but like their needs are now affecting our marriage. You're not present for our marriage, or you're always uptight, or you're full of angst, or you keep missing our own kids' events because your parents need so much time and attention from you. Or it's simply costing you so much money. Thank you, Carl. Or it's costing you as a couple so much money for those emergency airfares, hotel costs, rental cars, all of that kind of stuff. So you can see how caregiving, how families get kind of thrust into caregiving, and also how expensive it can be and how quickly things can get out of hand. And that's just the financial part. I have adult kids who say, you know what, I turned down my dream job because I can't handle even more responsibility. I have kids, they're the sandwich generation a lot of times. They have kids at home, maybe they have special needs kids, and now dad had a stroke, and how do you balance all of that together without cracking? Most of our families come to us in crisis because they are burned out caregivers. They're overwhelmed. They are certainly not getting along with the care recipient. And they are often not getting along with their siblings. A lot of times the one who takes lead on family caregiving hopes or assumes or thinks that their siblings will help out. And then you find out that maybe they don't help out as much as you thought, or they minimize your concerns about how well all of your parents are doing. So that's where there's a lot of family dynamics as well. That's why you can't just have anyone facilitate your family meeting. It seems like 30 some years ago, when I first started working with families got along a lot better than they do now. And that's why I credit, when families lived near each other, they had more of a relationship with each other, and they seemed to work together more as a team. Whereas as families and siblings started moving away from each other for jobs or marriages or whatever, like I said, now they have to get reacquainted with each other and then figure out what to do with mom and dad. And that's where we come in. So I'm going to end this for now. I could go on forever, but you're probably like, okay, enough. Plus, I have a meeting in like 4 minutes, so I need to figure out how to end the live. So let me know if this was helpful. It looks like we have Anne and Carl who are listening, or at least heard at that moment. So this is so cool. I think I got this figured out, which is great. If there are certain topics that you want me to cover, let me know, but I'm going to just pop on for just a few minutes at a time, just to give you like little snippets of information for you to ponder. And then you can always reach out to me if you have any questions, or if this hits home for you or someone that you know. Always happy to hop on a quick call and talk through some things and how we can help you. So, and of course, this is the one time that it works. I literally did not get to wash my hair today because we are still having power outages from Hurricane Helene. So when I left my house today, I did not have power, and so I did not have time to pull out the generator so that I could take a shower. So of course, this is the one that will go viral, I'm sure. So anyway, you all take care, be well, and be kind. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Care Right podcast. We hope today's discussion has provided you with valuable insights. If so, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our podcast with others who might find it helpful. Remember, Care Right is more than just a podcast. It's a community dedicated to supporting family caregivers with comprehensive care planning, crisis management, and resources for every stage of aging. Stay connected with us for future episodes as we continue to explore essential topics in aging planning, elder care, and financial planning. Until next time, take care, plan wisely, and remember, you're not alone in your caregiving journey.